Hey guys, so tonight's video we're going to take a look at upgrading our 3D prints from stock boring looking stuff like this to this where you have like a glass insert in your print, and we're also going to look at converting stock looking keyrings like these with the PEI sheet effect on the print to this using UV resin, and I'll share a link in the description where you can get it. So it's just off Amazon, it's not here, it's 16 quid, gives you 3 bottles and they come with 3 different tips as well. Okay, so this is really simple to do. So you're going to need your UV resin, which as I said I'll leave a link in the description. You're going to need a UV lamp, again can be got on Amazon. You're going to need some form of a torch. I have this one here, it's just handy for burning off stuff on 3D prints, but it's to get the bubbles out of the clear coat, and preferably do this in a well ventilated area or use protection. I'm not using a mask at the moment because I'm in the shed and it's fairly well ventilated and I need the mic to be clear, so do as I say, not as I do, I suppose. Anyway, we'll get started. It's nice and simple. So this is a keyring I made up of my old Focus RS that I had, so I'm going to use it for the purposes of this video. So essentially all you need to do is carefully place this on the keyring. Don't shake the bottle beforehand because it'll introduce bubbles. You want this to be as bubble free as possible. And don't put too much on at the one time because it generates quite a bit of heat when it's curing with the light, and it will cause warping of the print. So you can put a couple of layers on one after the other, won't matter, you won't see the join. You'll probably use a brush for this as well. Anyway, I ain't got one handy, so it flows reasonably well. Just make sure you have no hollows. Once you're happy, leave it there. Once you're happy, get your torch and give it a light lick over it and you'll see the bubbles clear off it. I need a wee bit up here at the top. Once you're happy, turn your UV light on. Depending on the thickness of the gel coat will determine how long it takes. It doesn't take long, like a couple of seconds is enough, especially with this light. It's a 60 watt. Done. So again, I'm just going to do another example here of another keyring I have. It's one I got off Maker World, and again it's simply just a matter of getting the gel to flow evenly across the whole surface without putting on so much that it runs off. Especially here at the turns and the S. probably would be far better with a brush. But as I said, I only have one handy, so I'm just going to have to make do. But it works surprisingly well even for something as rough and ready as the tip of the bottle. Once you're happy you have it coated, again, lick a flame. UV lamp. Done. It's amazing the difference it makes to a print. It just really improves the look of them. So for these 3D printed glass sides, or glass effect sides, we're going to use these laminating pouches that I've cut up, and you want that to go on the back of whatever you're putting your gel coat onto, and that'll allow you to peel it away after and give you a nice glass effect without impacting on the finish of the glass. Alright, so I've cut this to size, sat it down onto it. I've just drawn this up in Fusion and 3D printed it, and it works grand. For the purposes of this anyway, it's fine. It's essentially just a helping hand just to stop it from leaking gel out the sides. So this gives off quite a lot of heat, so you'll actually notice at the end of it that the laminating pouch has dark patches in it where it's actually bonded the two halves of the laminating pouch together. So you don't want to put on an awful lot, but enough that obviously it's solid. So simply all you have to do is just pour it in, and you can be relatively generous, but you don't want to overdo it, because again, on models that are fairly thin, the excess heat that this gives off might warp them. You can always top it up after if you need to, and you won't actually even see what you've added. It's actually really good resin for that. If any of you are wondering what these are for, they're replicas of old Irish telephone boxes that we used to have around the country. There's very few of them left anymore, they've all been replaced. So I just made a few of these as lamps. And they look pretty good. This whole process, cost-wise, is relatively cheap. So, like as I said, €16 roughly for the 3 bottles of gel, and the UV light I think was €20, and you may already have one of those. So it's a very cheap way of improving your prints, but hugely effective. I was using Perspex before this for the glass panels, and you had to cut all the sheets to size and then add adhesive to the back of them and stick them all into place. This takes not quite as long, but looks way better. So just if you tilt it around until the resin goes into all the corners. Again, you guys might be making something completely different to this, so do what you need to do to get the resin to fill the gaps. So once you're happy it's flowed to all the corners, get your torch. You can see it's popping bubbles as it goes over. Once it's done, apply the light. Because this is a little bit thicker, we might just have to give it about 40 seconds or so just to penetrate the whole way around. Okay, so once about a minute has passed, you can unclamp. And I want to apply some UV light to the back of it as well, just so that the piece, any piece that has escaped under the edge of the print gets an opportunity to cure before I take off the plastic. You see it seeped a little bit out here. Maybe you can't really see it in the camera, but it's there along the edge. So once you're happy, you can see it's already starting to warp slightly, but it bends back relatively easily. You get your plastic and just peel it off. You can see this was on a bit, that the heat creates the, or makes it bond together essentially. But there's your glass. It looks pretty sick. So that's what the final product looks like. You can see the glass has some little tiny bubbles and imperfections, but it kind of adds to the character. More so on this side here. This is before I actually started using the gas torch. And the ones I'm doing now don't have any bubbles at all, so it's pretty decent. Anyway, hope that video was useful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll see if I can help. Thanks.